Good morning, dear students. I welcome you for the biology class. Today, in this video, we'll be studying about connective tissue. Connective tissue is specialized to connect and anchor various body organs. As such, it connects one bone with another or a bone with a muscle. Three components are present in all the connective tissue. They are intercellular medium, connective tissue cells, and fibers. The cells of connective tissues are loosely spaced and they are embedded in an intercellular matrix. The matrix may be jelly like, fluid, dense, or rigid. The nature of the matrix decides the function of connective tissue. Like if the matrix is very much fluid, we'll say it's blood and lymph. And the matrix is solid in case of bone, the skeletal tissue. And the matrix is very soft in case of loose connective tissue. So this decides the nature of the connective tissue. Coming to its general function. Connective tissue binds the other tissue together in an organ. They also provide the structural framework and the mechanical support to different tissues. It is also concerned with the body defense, fat storage, repair mechanism, etc. The main function of the connective tissue are binding, supporting, and packing together different organs of the body. Coming to the types of connective tissue, these are the five types: areolar connective tissue, dense, adipose connective tissue, skeletal, and fluid connective tissue. First, let us study about areolar connective tissue. So, this is a diagram where you can see macrophages, fibroblast cells, collagen fibers, mast cell. Clear? Coming to areolar, so we'll go to the theoretical part. It is also called loose connective tissue. It's a loose cellular connective tissue. The matrix of these two contains a fibers, that is white collagen fibers, and they do have yellow elastic fibers. Areolar connective tissue is found between the skin and muscle, around the blood vessels and nerves, and also in bone marrow. It fills the space between different tissues and organs, hence they are called packing tissues. Coming to the function of areolar, it acts as supporting and packing tissue between organs lying in the body cavity. It provides rapid diffusion of oxygen, nutrients from blood vessels. It helps in repair of tissues after an injury. As you saw, macrophages, it's involved in defense, whereas mast cells is also there. So brings about the repair of the tissues after an injury. And it helps in fighting the foreign antigen and toxins. Coming to dense, the other name for dense is fibrous connective tissue. It's a fibrous connective tissue. It is categorized or characterized by orderly and densely packed collection of fibers and cells. The chief components are ligaments, tendons. Coming to ligaments. So these are elastic structure which is made up of yellow elastic fibrous tissue which connects bone to another bone. It has considerable strength. Ligaments contain a very little matrix. Ligaments strengthen the joints and they permit the normal movement, but it do prevent overflexing or overextension. The sprain is usually caused by excessive pulling or stretching of ligaments. Coming to tendons. Tendons are cord-like, a strong, inelastic structure that join skeletal muscles to bone. They are composed of white collagens, fibrous tissue. They do have great strength, but its flexibility is limited. So we can see in this picture, these are the white fibers and these are yellow elastic fibers. So this is together. You can see the collagen fibers and also yellow elastic fibers. So what white fibers and yellow fibers? So white fibers are made up of collagen proteins. So they are most abundant fibrous element of areolar and other connective. They are long, unbranched, so they are white in color, they are soluble, they shine, they have the shining appearance, shining collagen protein, and they are inextensible. So bundles of these white fibers called tendons. So they do attach muscles to bone. Coming to yellow fibers. So they are made up of elastin protein. They are thinner, they are less numerous and branched. The color is pale yellow, they are elastic, and they remain stretched due to tension in areolar tissue. And they are not as strong but more elastic in nature. Bundle of these tissues are called ligament, that which attach bone to another bone at joints. The next tissue is adipose tissue. So this is a diagram. You can see the fat cell. Inside the fat cell, you can see the fat droplets, nucleus, cytoplasm, and these are connective tissues. And you can see the blood vessels also, right? Coming to adipose tissue, it consisting of a large number of oval rounded adipose cells called as adipocytes filled with the fat globules. So this is abundant below the skin, between the internal organs, around the kidney, and in yellow bone marrow. Coming to its function, it serves as a fat reservoir. So they act as a food reservoir by storing fat. It acts as an insulator and regulates the body temperature. It forms cushion like the shock absorbing structure below the vital organs. Next, we'll study about the skeletal tissue. The skeletal connective tissue forms the endoskeleton of the body of vertebrates. It includes cartilage and bone. So let us study about the difference between cartilage and bone. Coming to bone, it is very hard, rigid endoskeleton, porous in nature, blood vessels are present. The bone cells are also known as osteocytes. The matrix is very hard, which contains protein called osin, and they do have minerals, salts, which is made from calcium and potassium. The long bones contain a bone marrow which is hollow and they do have narrow cavity. The bones are present in the whole body forming the endoskeleton, a particular skeleton framework. So what's the function? They provide particular shape. So they provide skeletal support and they protect vital body organs such as brain, lungs. Coming to cartilage. So these are soft, flexible endoskeleton. They are non-porous in nature. Blood vessels are absent. The cells in the matrix are called chondrocytes. The matrix mainly it's made up of proteins called chondrin. Bone marrow is absent. Cartilage is always solid. They are present at the joints of the bones in external ears, the nose tip, epiglottis, trachea, etc. So that's how you can stretch, right? And coming to function, they provide support and flexibility to the body parts. So let us see the diagram. So this is the cartilage. And what you see is the group of cells. Now you can see two cells over here. So those are chondrocytes. Surrounding that, it will be lacunae. And this is about the bone. And you'll be studying this now. So a long bone, usually they do have a hollow cavity. So that cavity is known as marrow cavity. So they are filled with the bone marrow. And this matrix, in case of bone, is very solid and they are arranged in the form of concentric rings, right, in the form of layers. So we'll say that as lamellae, right? So you can see some concentric ring-like structure. So they are known as lamellae. So in between lamellae, you can see a spaces called lacunae. And this lacunae will bear osteocytes, the bone cells. And they do have the network called canaliculi. And this canaliculi will connect one osteocytes to another osteocytes like bone cells, and that's how they bring about the network. Now the nutrients will be transmitted and that's how they coordinate, right? You'll be studying in the next slide now. So let us go with the Haversian canal. So that's how the matrix is in the concentric circles called lamellae, and they occur in the form of layers. So they form the Haversian canals. And this typically run parallel to the surface and along the axis of the bone. The canals and the surrounding lamellae is around 88 to 15. They are called Haversian system or osteon. An Haversian canal generally contains one or two capillaries and nerve fibers. Haversian canals are formed when individual lamellae form concentric rings. That's what I said, concentric rings around the larger longitudinal canals, approximately 50 micrometer in diameter within the bone tissue. This Haversian canals also surrounds the nerve cells throughout the bone and communicate with osteocytes, the bone cells. This unique arrangement is conducive to the storage of mineral salts, deposits that gives a bone tissue its strength. So this is a cross section, you can see. These are concentric lamellae. So as I said, the lamellae, so in the form of layers, the concentric layers, they do have blood vessels. Osteocytes, you can see in the lacunae. And the entire system is known as osteon or Haversian canal. So it's still more clear, you can see. So these are the lamellae, which is in the concentric ones. And in between, you can see the lacunae, the space. So they do have osteocytes and they do bear canaliculi. So that's how they connect to one cell to the other cell. You can see the cartilage over here, and this is the bone, and this is a normal joint. And as you grow older, this is what the cartilage is getting eroded, and you can see the synovial fluid which is present, so that also get deteriorated, and you can see two bones get rubbed together. So this is a result of this is what the symptoms what you see in case of osteoarthritis. So it's much more clear with the picture. You can see the pink color stuffs. So those are osteocytes. And the network, what you see here, like structure, it is canaliculi. And this system is known as Haversian canal. The center cavity is known as Haversian canal. The entire thing is known as Haversian system. So thank you, students. We'll discuss the other connective tissue. So it's not been completed. So one more connective tissue has been still pending. So that is fluid. So we'll discuss in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.